Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One. Thanks for logging on. Today, we're looking at the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Day-Date 40, reference 228238. You can see this 2015 Basel World novelty on our website, watchyouwant.com. You can purchase it there, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Also, click the card in the upper right-hand corner of the video at any time to see our complete listing for this watch with accessories included, additional photographs, details of warranty, and of course, complete pricing information. Now, on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, the persona, the feel, the mass of the Day-Date 40, which does supplant the Day-Date 2, is far more Day-Date 2 than original 36mm Day-Date. The heft of the watch on the wrist is impressive, and it does have a span of 40mm across the round of the case, not including the crown. Now, the watch has a thickness which is delightfully pared down, only 12mm, with a cupped case back. When it is strapped to the wrist, it does nestle down and sit far lower than 12mm above the skin, and with a generously sloped, fluted gold bezel, it easily slides under any kind of a dress cuff. Now, it is rather compact for a 40mm watch. The outermost outcropping of the solid end link of the President bracelet to the opposite number on the other side, the two outermost rigid extreme points, measures 47.5mm, which is delightfully compact and only about 3mm more from extremity to extremity than a standard 36mm Day-Date. But make no mistake, this one takes after the footsteps of its forefather, the Day-Date 2. And the bottom line is that the watch feels Day-Date 2 on the wrist. It's very substantial. And it's important to note that even small details, like the Rolex 3-link President bracelet, have been substantially upgraded. This is the first application of ceramic-coated pins in a Rolex bracelet. Now, you can't see it, but you will feel the impact because the links are silky, almost like they're drenched with lubricant. Now, they're completely dry, but you have the feel of a completely different product than the President bracelets that have come before, and the advantage plays out over time because the stretch that's endemic to the President bracelet, and the Jubilees in particular, will not become evident with the ceramic-coated pins. They are effectively lifetime pins, and they will maintain the integrity and the tolerances of the links for the lifetime of the watch. And if you know anything about Rolex, that's going to be far more than one human lifetime. Now, of course, it does include the latest standards, completely milled out, beautifully finished, 18-karat yellow gold clasp to match. It does have the articulated crown clasp seen on many late-model Rolex Presidents. So the crown clasp, as ever, quite subtle. The only point that shows the actual partition, you could see, becomes an articulated sort of toggle tab that unhinges the President bracelet and opens up the crown clasp itself. Classic cues are maintained throughout the case and the dial as well. Now, one element that I want to emphasize right here is the laser-etched dial. It's difficult to show to advantage on the camera, but if you look carefully, you can see the subtle texturing. It's a sort of 21st century revival of the Rolex 1950s honeycomb dials. If you're familiar with that texturing, for instance, on some of the original Milgauss watches, it's very much that pattern, quite subtle, quite beautiful. Again, there are many laser-etched dial options across the new Day-Date 40 range, but this black sort of honeycomb pattern, neo-honeycomb, is beautiful when juxtaposed to the gorgeous gleaming yellow gold case. It's a very dramatic composition. Now, everything on the dial is beautifully presented. There is some reference to history, of course, in the honeycomb, but also in the gilt printing. You can see the lines of script. You can see the beautiful vintage-style railroad chaptering for the seconds and minutes outboard. All of the applied yellow gold indices are quite beautifully rendered, beautifully polished, placed by hand. There are still elements of hand manufacture in Rolex watches, and they show to good advantage. Now, the caliber inside is part of the news. As ever, on a Rolex Oyster case, we're going to have a solid case back, but what lies under the case back and under this Day-Date dial is worth a shout-out. It is the caliber 3255, a completely new caliber in the Rolex family. It has several advantages over previous iterations. For one, a substantially upgraded power reserve. 70 hours, approximately 3 days, that upgrades the traditional 45 to 48-hour power reserve of the preceding 3155 and 3156 calibers. Now, the watch does feature a substantially altered escapement arrangement, inheriting some of the materials from the Milgauss to go with the anti-magnetic parachrom hairspring. It is a very anti-magnetic watch, exceeding the ISO standards for the type by orders of magnitude. Now, it has what's called the chronenergy escapement, which is almost like a tangential form of lever against a unique skeletonized escape wheel. Definitely Google this one because you're going to want to see it. What's inside the watch is as extraordinary as what's outside, and what's outside is Rolex's own homemade gold, poured and actually formulated in Rolex's own material science lab and foundry. It's just a sign of Rolex putting everything it knows into every aspect of the watch, from the bracelet to the case to the bezel, making the dial, the hands, right down to the shock protection springs of the movement itself, Rolex's signature Powerflex. This is a unique and entirely innovative Rolex take on the traditional day and date watch. They were the first with it in 1956, and they continue to lead the way in 2016. You can see this Rolex Oyster Perpetual Day-Date 40 in 18 karat yellow gold on our website, watchyouwant.com.